I still remember the exact moment I realized just how expendable I was. It was 7:03 a.m. on a Tuesday, bright sunlight filtering through blinds onto my desk, where a fresh stack of performance reports lay waiting. I'd stayed late the night before, crunching numbers for the quarter-end presentation, convinced that my algorithmic trading model, which I'd spent 2 years perfecting, would finally earn me the promotion I'd earned 10 times over. My phone buzzed. From CEO's assistant time, 7:03 a.m., Mr. Lawson requests you come to his office at 8 o'clock. My heart skipped. Lawrence Lawson, our CEO, had personally green-lighted my model last quarter, one that had generated $2.1 billion in profits for VistaQuant in just 6 weeks. He'd lauded me in the boardroom. He'd tapped me on the shoulder at holiday parties. "That's some magic you've got, Diane," he'd said, grinning. An appointment at 8 a.m. with him could mean anything. A corner office, a seat on the trading committee. I practically bounced in my chair. By 8 o'clock exactly, I was knocking at his door, resume and slides in hand. "Come in," he said, eyes sharp behind tortoiseshell frames. He gestured to a chair opposite his sprawling glass desk. "Diane, sit." I settled in, trying to catch his eye. He leaned back, fingertips steepled. "I'm sure you know why you're here," he began. I nodded eagerly. "You wanted to discuss the model's rollout to European markets." He nodded. "That's one item." He set aside a printed memo. "The other is your employment status. Effective immediately, we're terminating your position here at VistaQuant." My brain stuttered. "Excuse me?" My voice cracked. You're firing me?" He exhaled, sounding almost regretful. "Yes, it's company policy. You understand confidentiality, intellectual property, and non-compete provisions, so we'll handle the details with HR. Please hand your badge to security on your way out." He tapped the memo. "Your final paycheck, benefits info, and severance package are laid out here. Good luck in your future endeavors, Diane." It was as if someone else had delivered the line. The corners of his mouth betrayed nothing. I stumbled up, voice gone. I backed toward the door, my pulse pounding so loud I was sure I could hear it echoing off the walls. I floated out, head spinning, memorizing every detail of that plush office. His diplomas, the skyline view, the gold-plated VQ on the stand behind his desk. At security, I handed over my badge. The guard didn't look up. I walked through the lobby with my cardboard box of personal items, my travel coffee mug, the lone succulent on my desk, a stack of industry journals. I made sure to say goodbye to nobody. Outside, the morning air felt shockingly crisp. The weight of what I'd lost pressed on me: a career, my reputation, my financial runway, $2.1 billion in profits. A team I'd built, the loyalty of colleagues. All replaced in 60 minutes by sterility and a severance check that barely covered my mortgage. I drove home in a daze, clutching the steering wheel, tears stinging as the frustration boiled through me. How could they toss me aside after I'd made them billions? It was unthinkable. I had poured my life into that model: weekend hackathons, sleepless nights at my whiteboard, early morning data polls, every scrap of code etched with my sweat and faith in quantitative finance. I reached home at 8:45 a.m. My husband Marcus peeked over the breakfast table. "How'd it go?" he asked cheerfully. I dropped onto a stool. "I got fired." His face cracked in disbelief. "What? But you made them so much money. You were their star." I shook my head, voice hollow. "Apparently stars burn out." I sank my head into my hands. "I don't know what I'm going to do." He wrapped an arm around me. "We'll figure it out. You'll land on your feet." But I felt brittle, broken. By noon, I'd posted my resume on every major site and blasted LinkedIn updates. I even called my former academic advisor for leads. Nothing moved fast enough. Yet that evening, as I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, a plan twisted into shape in my mind, one that would make them regret ever letting me go. They thought they could dispose of me, bury me under a non-disclosure agreement and severance terms. But I had something they couldn't replace: my intellectual property. I reached under the mattress for a small, locked external hard drive, my constellations of code, back-tested results, proprietary datasets, trade logs. It held the essence of the VQ AlphaQuant model, but also another dataset I'd been developing entirely on my own time: a next-generation predictive engine, Project Sable, combining satellite imagery with alternative data to anticipate commodity price moves. Project Sable was illicit under my contract, yes, but I'd built it before my VistaQuant employment at the tail end of my PhD research. It was mine. They had no claim. I sat up, adrenaline flooding. I would launch Sable Inc., within 2 weeks hire my own team and eat their lunch and their market share. They would realize the black hole they'd created by firing me, and regret it in every basis point of lost profit. Monday, day 1 of planning. I resurfaced Monday morning with uncharacteristic focus. I brewed coffee and spread legal paperwork across the dining table. Incorporation forms, IP assignment templates, investor pitch outlines. Marcus arrived, rubbing his eyes. Burning the midnight oil, I nodded. I'm launching an adversarial model, Sable Inc. I have the code, the thesis, and even preliminary test results. I'll invite the 2 grad student programmers who helped me with data cleaning on weekends, plus 1 freelance ML engineer. We'll spin up a lean operation. He sat, intrigued. You really think you can do it in 2 weeks? I smiled grimly. I have to. Over the next hour, we worked through logistics, company name reservation, setting up Stripe accounts, emailing the students, outlining the MVP, minimum viable product for institutional demo by Friday. By lunchtime, I drafted an initial email to Greg and Tara, my 2 TAs from grad school. Subject: urgent week-long AI startup project. Are you in? Hey team, I've spun off our commodity forecasting research from the lab into a new startup, Project Sable. We need your Python prowess and data wrangling skills to build a demo by Friday. Equity compensation. Think laser-focused timeline. Zero bureaucracy. Let me know if you're game. Coffee on me. Diane within 15 minutes, 2 enthusiastic replies. I'm in. Let's rock. Count me in, doctor. Woo. Let's do it. Locked in. I emailed the freelance engineer I'd found on an academic forum. Can you architect our AWS pipeline and optimize inference throughput? Equity plus hourly fee. He responded, sounds rad. I'll clear my schedule. By 2 p.m., Marcus and I had a rudimentary cap table, a Google Drive folder structure, and a Slack workspace named Sable HQ. I even reserved sablehq.com. Tuesday, day 2. Building momentum. Tuesday morning. I drove into downtown, former battleground turned potential ally, as if I were marking new territory. I squeezed into a tiny conference room at a local co-working space, laptop in tow. By 9 a.m., Tara and Greg arrived, bleary-eyed but brimming with excitement. Okay, I said, powering up. Here's the vision: predictive signals for energy, metals, and agriculture markets, using satellite-derived indicators, pipeline flows, crop health indices, industrial emissions. We give clients a 24-hour lead on spot moves. I clicked through slides. Our Edge 1 proprietary image processing pipeline, 2 neural net ensemble, tuned for low-latency inference, 3 alternative data fusion pipeline built on our code. They leaned in. We've got raw Earth observation data loaded, Greg said. We need to normalize and generate features. Tara cracked her knuckles. I'll finalize the labeling system and backtest aggregator. I glanced at the Slack channel. At Freelancer, what's your ETA on the inference pipeline? Let me know if you need more compute. In minutes, he replied. Spinning up GPUs now. ETA 2 hours for prototype. By noon, we had a skeleton pipeline, daily satellite snapshots to normalized feature arrays. The neural net could ingest and spit out predicted deltas. Crude, but proof of concept. I recorded screen capture for the investor pitch, a 30-second reel showing Sable versus VQ AlphaQuant backtest performance, jitter filtered, data boundaries at risk thresholds, and p-sal curves modestly outpacing the old model. The kids asked to break for lunch at 1, so we grabbed sandwiches and yoga ball chairs in the lounge. Even at the table, I could sense the electricity. Tara was animatedly graphing residuals. Greg was coding a wrapper function to fetch the latest EVI crop index. The freelancer fiddled with AWS functions. I tapped my phone, a calendar invite to Sable Investor Cocktails, Thursday later that night. I grinned. Wednesday, day 3. Unexpected visitors. I arrived at the co-working space early Wednesday to find 2 sharply dressed men waiting for me at my conference table. My heart skipped. Was this a curious VC? A headhunter? Or a corporate hit? I rose, hand out. Good morning. You must be. One man flashed a badge. Detectives Hayes and Morales, Corporate Investigations Unit. VistaQuant. Mind if we sit? My pulse thumped. Of course. They sat. Hayes cleared his throat. Miss Wu, we have reason to believe you removed confidential VistaQuant files from secure servers prior to your termination. We need you to log all electronic devices in your possession that may contain proprietary data. Everything slowed. My breath caught. My mind raced. The external drive contained my pre-employment research, plus the Sable code, but also fragments of VQ's live trading model codebase that I'd inspected on corporate hardware. If they seized it, my new startup would die, and I faced legal ruin. I clasped my hands. Detectives, I was let go this week, and I was advised that all non-disclosure agreements remain in effect. But I have not transferred, forwarded or otherwise copied any VistaQuant code to my personal devices. This drive contains only my pre-employment research and my open-source libraries. Morales slid a piece of paper across the table, a court order to hand over all electronic devices containing VistaQuant proprietary code. I closed my eyes for a moment. They'd moved fast, patted down my former office, copied termination logs, flagged my access keys. They thought I was about to launch AlphaQuant 2.0 under a new name. I swallowed. I can't comply with that order. My property is protected. I will consent to a neutral third-party forensic analysis to prove that the drive contains no proprietary code from VistaQuant. Their faces were stone. Hayes tapped his pen. Very well, we'll arrange for a court-appointed examiner. But Miss Wu, any obstruction may result in contempt charges, civil and criminal. My throat seized. Civil and criminal? My fledgling startup teetered. I forced a calm nod. Understood. I'll make it available. They stood, handed me their cards. We'll be in touch. Thank you. As they walked away, my gratitude for that locked hardware encryption surged. I had one line of defense, a meticulous log I'd kept. Every commit, every file, every dataset with origin marked. The forensic exam would clear me. But I had to act fast. Schedule the examiner, secure new cloud backups, tighten my legal firewall. Thursday, day 4. Pitch night Thursday evening. I found myself in a chic loft behind an art gallery, an angel investor mixer for founders with traction. My team had prepped a polished pitch deck, market analysis, POC results, capital ask, and a tier sheet of plus 12% alpha versus standard quant benchmarks. I took the stage before a dozen investors, my heart humming. Good evening. I'm Diane Wu, CEO of Sable Inc. We're the first to bring satellite-fused predictive AI to commodity trading. Over the past week, we've built a prototype in under 48 hours. Today, I'm seeking $2 million for data licensing, talent expansion, and pilot liquidity integration. Slides flashed a map of grain belt moisture anomalies, LNG pipeline flow differentials, an animated equity curve. The crowd leaned in. I fielded questions. How do you protect IP from replication? What's your latency? What regulatory clearances? I answered crisply. In the back, I glimpsed the VistaQuant head of investors, Michael Sterling, scowling as he whispered into a phone, probably briefing the detectives. Afterward, 2 investors approached me, one from a Midwest hedge fund, one from a Dubai sovereign wealth subsidiary. Both wanted deeper meetings next week. I texted Greg and Tara. We got interest. Great work. Their replies pinged. Holy smokes. We're on fire. I exhaled, adrenaline softening into triumph. They couldn't stop me. I had the IP, the talent, the traction, and the promise of real capital. VistaQuant had fired me, but they couldn't unwrite my code, couldn't unhire my passion, couldn't unlaunch Project Sable. As I stepped out onto the gallery's balcony, the city skyline dazzling below, I felt the culmination of a feverish startup sprint, from cardboard box and severance, to launching an illicit competitor, raising real interest, and proving to the ones who fired me that they couldn't replace me. Below, the music swelled. I pulled out my phone and dialed Marcus. When he answered, I didn't give him a summary. I simply breathed, "We're in business." He laughed, relief and pride in his voice. "I knew you could do it." And in that moment, I realized they'd taken my job, but they hadn't taken me. They couldn't replace my ingenuity, my grit, or the drive that had led me to build billions in value. And now, I had something they couldn't touch, a future they'd never imagined. Night had settled over the city by the time I slid out of the art gallery loft and onto the rain-slick sidewalk. The lights of downtown shimmered like galaxies in puddles. In my pocket, My phone buzzed with texts from investors. Let's chat next week. Send data access. Congratulations. For the first time since that cold morning in Lawrence's office, I felt unstoppable. But I knew the coming days would demand more than momentum. They'd demand strategy, grit, and a readiness to counter every move VistaQuant made to derail me. Friday, day 5. The forensic firewall. I arrived at the neutral examiner's office just after 9 a.m., briefcase in hand. A reserved, spectacled attorney, named Miss Campos, met me. "Miss Wu," she said, shaking my hand. "We'll need the hardware and documentation. I'll conduct a full forensic review and produce a report. You're protected by chain of custody protocols." I handed over the sealed hard drive and a binder containing my meticulously dated logs, commit timestamps, dataset origins, and build notes. "Everything is here," I said. "This drive contains only my pre-employment research and Project Sable code, no proprietary VistaQuant code." Miss Campos nodded. "We'll confirm that. You'll have the signed affidavit by Monday." Leaving her office, I felt a crack open inside me. With this in place, VistaQuant's legal threat lost its bite. I was no thief. I was an entrepreneur defending my IP. Saturday, day 6. Rallying the troops Saturday morning, I convened my core team, Greg, Tara, and our freelancer, Sam, in my makeshift home office. Pancakes and coffee fueled our meeting. "Chain of custody is secured," I reported. "Legal's on standby. We focus on product." I clicked through the weekend's code check-ins, new features, bug fixes, and most importantly, a data quality dashboard that let users visually inspect satellite feed integrity in real time. "We're ahead," Sam said, eyes bright. "The AWS pipeline handles 10K images per hour now. We can scale." Greg chimed in. "I'm cleaning up backtest results for a 10-minute live demo at the CT-ARC conference next Wednesday." Tara grinned. "I'll finalize the UI polish so it's investor-ready." I looked around the table. Listen up: Monday, we demo for the hedge fund and the sovereign investor. Wednesday, we demo at CT-ARC. Friday, we pitch at MoneyTech. End of the week, we'll have term sheets. Let's keep the pedal down." They cheered, and I realized this was more than code. It was a shared mission to prove the power of unbound innovation. Monday, day 8. The hedge fund demo. By Monday afternoon, the hedge fund office was abuzz with anticipation. I stood before a semicircle of quants and portfolio managers, my laptop tethered to a large screen. "Thank you for having Sable Inc. here," I began. "Our demo will show a live feed of predictive signals for WTI crude oil based on satellite imagery of tanker flows, complemented by our neural net accuracy metrics over the past 6 months." I launched the dashboard. Animated vessel counts updated in real-time, model signals appeared below. P&L curves traced upward. The room fell silent, punctuated only by murmurs. One analyst raised a hand. "What's your false positive rate on signal triggers?" I clicked to a slide. "Under 3% thanks to our ensemble fallback and human-in-loop alert system. We continuously retrain every 24 hours. Heads nodded. Another manager asked about data latency. It was under 2 minutes. About compliance, they'd partnered with GeoTrust to anonymize imagery. Questions kept coming, and each answer bolstered their confidence. At the end, the chief investment officer, a steely woman named Ramirez, leaned forward. "This is impressive. We'd like to run a 2-week proof of concept with $10 million in notional capital. Terms to follow." I exhaled, gratitude washing over me. As I packed up, I caught sight of a familiar face in the back. Michael Sterling, VistaQuant's head of investments. His eyes locked onto mine for a flicker. Then he turned away. They'd seen the demo. Tuesday, day 9. Counterpunch. I returned to the office to find a stack of corporate subpoenas. VistaQuant was demanding all Sable infrastructure logs, billing records, and communications. An aggressive bid to slow us down and maybe, just maybe, intimidate our investors. I called Simone, my attorney. "They're relentless," I said. She answered calmly. "That's corporate playbook when they feel threatened. We file objections tomorrow, citing misdirected jurisdiction and relevance. And we move to quash non-essential demands. Meanwhile, secure your Slack logs and billing history. We'll produce only what's necessary." I felt the familiar surge of defiance. Understood. That afternoon, I set up an encrypted vault for all critical project data, spun up redundant servers in a different cloud region, and with Sam's help, migrated our analytics pipeline to a new AWS account. We were moving faster than their lawyers could follow. Wednesday, day 10, CT ARC Conference keynote. The CT ARC Conference hall was packed with tech leaders. Stepped onto the stage alongside my co-presenter, Mark Fields, a veteran quant who had come aboard as Chief Data Officer. Behind us, a banner read, Data Frontiers 2025. Good morning, I began, voice steady over the mic. I'm Diane Wu, CEO of Sable Inc. Today I'll show how satellite-fused AI can provide a 24-hour edge in commodity markets, an edge worth billions. Our live demo was even more polished now. Heat maps glowed. UI animations were seamless. Predictive signals updated on screen. Applause rippled through the crowd as we concluded with backtest results showing consistent outperformance. During Q&A, a senior academic asked bluntly, "Are you not concerned about corporate retaliation? VistaQuant was your former employer, yes?" I met the question head-on. Every startup faces risk. My difference is that I built this from the ground up on proprietary research I owned, Project Sable, VistaQuant. Tried to litigate, but our IP is ours. We're backed by a strong legal defense and a community that believes in open innovation. The audience rose to its feet. As we stepped off stage, investors and press flocked to our booth. I spotted Michael Sterling again. This time he shook his head and tapped his notepad, his scowl undeniable. He knew he'd triggered a juggernaut. Thursday, day 11, midnight milestones. That night, my phone pinged with results from Monday's hedge fund test, plus 2.8% daily alpha on $10 million notional, over $500,000 in virtual profits in 5 days. Our dashboard flashed green arrows across every sector. I clinked beers with my team at a rooftop bar. We're real, I toasted. Sable is real, Tara grinned. We just hit the big leagues. Greg added, tomorrow we talk term sheets. Friday, day 12, term sheets and triumph. Back in the co-working space, I sat with the hedge fund CIO and a rep from the Sovereign Wealth Fund, 2 imposing figures at a sleek table. I slid the term sheets forward, management fee, performance fee, data fee, all at competitive rates. They reviewed, they conferred, they nodded. We're in, said the Sovereign Wealth rep. We'll deploy $100 million with you. The CIO shook my hand. Pleasure doing business, Diane. I exhaled, relief and triumph colliding. Against every odds, the firing, the lawsuits, the midnight hours, I had launched a company that would capture the market I'd left behind. Epilogue. The reckoning 3 months later, in Sable's modest but bustling headquarters, I watched monitors track real-time commodity signals. Our team had grown to 20, with department heads for engineering, data, and compliance. Our seed round had closed at $5 million with prominent VCs. Clients stretched from New York to Dubai, and VistaQuant, their stock was stagnant, their blue-chip clients whispering about our performance. One afternoon, I received a discreet invite, a meeting with Michael Sterling, this time at our offices. He arrived with 2 senior VistaQuant executives. I met them in our glass-walled boardroom. He offered his hand. Diane, you built something remarkable. I underestimated you. On behalf of VistaQuant, I apologize for how we handled your departure. I shook it firmly. Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. He cleared his throat. We'd like to discuss a strategic partnership. Sable's technology could complement our global platform. Let's talk terms. I regarded him coolly. We'll consider it, but on our terms. No more non-competes, no more NDAs designed to bury innovators. If VistaQuant wants to integrate, it's a fair acquisition or licensing deal, valued at market rates, and with full credit to Sable. He nodded, agreed. As they left, I exhaled. The boardroom felt different now, a place where I sat as founder and CEO, not a timid quant. That evening, I took the elevator up to my top-floor office, overlooking the river. The sun dipped blood orange on the horizon. I sat at my desk, the old VQ Alpha Quant files safely archived, and Project Sable humming in the cloud behind me. I opened my laptop and began drafting the partnership terms. The final line read, VistaQuant Sable Alliance, where innovation meets opportunity, guided by integrity. I closed the document and leaned back, satisfied. They had fired me after I made them billions, but they couldn't replace my vision, or the company I'd built from scratch. And now, I held something they couldn't replace: the power to choose my terms and shape the future on my own. Because the greatest asset I'd ever had was never a model or a dataset, it was my unbreakable resolve. And they'd learn that the hard way every time they watched Sable's trading signals light up the markets.